Determining which mirrorless camera brand has the best image quality is subjective. Everybody is going to have their own taste and opinion, especially depending on which brand works best for your workflow. Like for example, you could say I'm biased towards lumix cameras because that's mainly what I shoot on. But for those who are new and don't know, I actually come from a Sony and Red background and still edit a wide variety of footage from different cameras these days. And for what the S5IIX has to offer, that's why I lean towards saying it is one of the cameras with the best image quality for the price, at least in the mirrorless category. Recently I shot a video of a band in BRAW on the S5IIX, and oh my god, some of the clips literally look unreal to me in terms of quality, dynamic range, color, the whole package. And so today, I'm going to talk about how you can do this on the S5IIX, what accessories you'll need, and some pros and cons I found if you use this kind of setup. My name's Dustin, and remember to keep your arms and legs inside your chairs at all times. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So what'd you think? Let me know down in the comments, especially if you are on another brand like Sony or Canon or anything else, and be honest with me. Do you think that the image quality is better or worse? Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages to the setup I use to shoot in BRAW, and I will talk about it in another video where I'll be doing a long-term review of the S5IIX. I've literally shot so much variety with this thing over the past few months, and I'm excited to give you guys my thoughts. So let's start off with everything you need to shoot BRAW on this camera. The biggest thing is the Blackmagic Video Assist. This will cost you about $800, and I personally think it's a better purchase over the Ninja V. I used to own a Ninja V, and I just didn't really use it, especially if you edit in DaVinci Resolve. Like, the Video Assist is just the way to go. Then you need an external SSD or a fast enough SD card. I'm using the SanDisk ProBlade with this Condor Blue top handle, but you can pretty much use any SSD drive. I would just check the compatibility list that I'll link in the description if there even is one. Now, the next thing you'll have to do is plug everything in, then go to your camera, the red video menu, image format, and turn on HDMI raw data output. You'll notice that the rec quality will change to the supported formats. Now turn on the Video Assist and change the codec to Blackmagic RAW and choose either constant bitrate or constant quality. Basically the difference, constant bitrate is going to try and maintain a constant bitrate, whereas constant quality, the bitrate may change, but the quality will try to stay consistent, but this could result in frame drops, especially if you don't have a fast enough SSD. For the shoot that you just watched, I went with a constant bitrate of 5:1. Now this is where I gotta mention that you can use just the monitor and an SD card. However, it is possible that it won't be able to write fast enough if you choose a higher bitrate or quality. I did some tests and I think you're pretty safe at 8:1 or 12:1, but I don't know if I'd trust anything higher than that. Plus, SD cards are just so much more expensive than SSDs. For example, I paid $180 for the 2TB ProBlade SSD, whereas my SanDisk 256 gig SD card, I paid $250. So I highly recommend going the SSD route. Even if it's not the ProBlade, I'm pretty sure a 2TB SSD is only like $120. You could even go with a 1 terabyte drive as well and save even more. I believe that the Condor Blue only works with 2 terabyte Pro blades, so just be aware of that if you decide to go this route. One other thing that you may want to enable is HDMI trigger. So go to the cogwheel, in/out, and HDMI rec output, and enable HDMI recording control. Then on the video assist, go to record, arrow right, and trigger record to video start/stop. Cool, so now let's talk about the pros and cons to recording this way. And like I said, I'm gonna cover this probably a bit more, but I'm gonna go over a few details at least for you, give you a little teaser. To give some context, this band was only going to be on stage for about 1 hour. So I had to move very fast and try to get as many shots as I could, and honestly, I could have really used some more shots. There was some shots I missed I really wish I would have gotten. But luckily, I'll likely shoot this band again, so I'll make up for it then. But yeah, it definitely is more work than if I was just shooting without the monitor. On top of that, I was using my dual lens APO Mini Primes, which are just a nice set of cine lenses that I own, so it took some time as well to change lenses when I needed to. I also really wanted to get some shots on the gimbal, and that took some time as well. Now, it was as fast as I could get it, and the shots turned out awesome on the gimbal that I could get, but I could have used more. And finally, the last disadvantage to this setup is the HDMI lag to the monitor. It's quite noticeable, and I definitely hope it's improved on future Lumix cameras. If you're using autofocus, it'll definitely help since you don't have to manually pull, but there were times where I would try to do a rack focus forward and it would focus to the background instead of where I needed it to focus. On this camera, you can improve this slightly by turning off the audio over HDMI, but even still, it needs some work for sure. Now let's talk about the workflow with this. It's honestly extremely simple if you're using DaVinci Resolve. All the clips drag in like normal, and it plays back very smoothly. Where the magic happens though is in the color tab in the camera raw icon. I did do a minimal grade, so what you're seeing is very close to what I saw in camera, but you can really push the image on this if you want. Even if you don't, I mean, look at this footage. I don't know, I just think it looks incredibly clean, natural, and vibrant all at the same time. I didn't add any noise reduction in post and zero sharpening as well. There were some shots where I turned on the highlight recovery and was able to get some nice detail back in the highlights. It's pretty straightforward, which I'm surprised because in the past when I've had to deal with raw footage, it's been kind of a pain, and to be honest, because it was a pain, I've tried to avoid it over the past few years of my career. But after this, I legitimately could see myself shooting B-RAW more often, especially given how good the image quality is and flexibility it gives me in post. I have some kinks to work out in terms of gear for sure to make this quicker and faster if you get my drift, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. That's really the biggest pro to this setup is you can get raw recording for about $3,500. We do have to consider that DaVinci Resolve is $300, and I'm not sure if it's included in the free version, like the ability to edit B-RAW. But yeah, that's given if you just go with the basics to the setup. Let me know if you guys have questions about B-RAW or the S5IIX down in the comments, and if you're interested in any of the gear I talked about, there are affiliate links available in the description. Appreciate it if you use those. Lastly, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified of future uploads. Till that next video though, happy filming.